Hi, everyone, and welcome to Huddle in Place of the Nine-Sided Circle. Episode 58 is where we're at. It is May 28th, 2020, and I'm one of your hosts. I'm Noor Kyle, and I am currently in Los Angeles.
And I am the other one of your hosts, Mushtaq Ali, and I am in the Bay Area.
And in the library.
Yes, I am videoing from the library today.
Lovely.
I need to show off my intellectual side every now and again.
There you go.
You know that there are decorators who scour old used bookstores looking for sets of books with pretty covers. Doesn't matter what's in them, but they will buy them and decorate houses with them so that the people will appear snooty, intellectual.
He knows this because he's done that. Right? Is that how you got all your snooty books?
No, these are all like grimoires and stuff.
Oh, I see.
This one up here, that is the, what you're seeing is part of the 16 volumes of the full Grimoire of Solomon. Down over in this corner, where is it? Right, I got to be careful because it can bite my finger off. We have the Necronomicon.
I hope you'll let me read these someday.
No, I like you.
All right. Silly. What do we have for updates today?
Life is weird. Trump threw out a executive order stifling free speech and such things on
I have
interweb.
not. Yeah, I saw it.
I'm not ready yet. From what I've heard, it sounds kind of bad. They're trying to take away the rights of ISPs and digital platforms like Facebook and YouTube and Twitter to be protected because they are not doing journalism. And Trump has decided that because he's been fact-checked for his lies, he's going to hit back at these people. And I suspect that we're going to see a constitutional crisis out of it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, as if things aren't unpredictable and
well, nobody
stressful.
has put any checks or balances on the guy since he's been in office.
Not really, no.
Expect him to throw tantrums when he doesn't get his way, and this is a big tantrum.
We've enabled this for sure.
Yep.
Alas. So, as we mentioned yesterday, we wanted to think about the future, quote unquote, from this moment on. I mean, we are pulling out of all of the quarantine almost globally at this point. But yeah, so how do we think about the future from here on out right now? How do we prepare for this cultural shift in which social distancing, particularly physical distancing at this point, is going to be our normal, despite it being so counterintuitive in terms of how many of our cultures have behaved in the past. Yeah, I mean, there's the necessity of finding ways to be in public around each other while being safe and also being humane. So that is what we wanted to touch on today, as well as how we're feeling about these changes. So we're going to discuss that. What do you think, Mushtaq?
Well, I think that it's going to be weird and people need to make some adjustments.
Yeah.
Whether they want to or not.
Right.
Of course, you can always not and then maybe die or kill somebody.
That's the thing. It's not just about us. It's about everyone around us as well. And we've said that many times and it remains true. everything we do is going to have repercussions for everyone else. And being city dwellers as we are, this is something we really do have to think about it. I mean, we do have to think about, and we're already seeing everyday changes like plastic barriers in grocery stores. Restaurants are putting them up between you and the person behind the counter. And I know, Mushtaq, that you've sort of experienced an adjustment to that already, given when you moved from out of state to California, you encountered barriers in public places that you hadn't before.
Yeah, and that was, I gotta tell you, that was weird. You're living in a medium-sized town in the Midwest, and then all of a sudden you come out to California, and all of the banks have 2-inch thick bulletproof barriers between you and the teller, and all the gas stations, and
liquor stores.
Liquor stores, that's another one. That was so weird, going into a liquor store and, you know, having a spinner box so that they could give you your stuff without ever exposing themselves to you.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, bulletproof glass everywhere. And, you know, I assume that, you know, people are getting robbed more often here.
Yeah. I mean, there must be a pattern there that people are responding to.
Yeah. That was a little bit of a culture shock, because when I left California, none of that stuff was.
Yeah, I think that's what we're signing up for, is a bit of culture shock overall.
Yep.
We're probably going to be having temperature checkpoints, and whether those are fully effective or not is irrelevant. The fact is that we may encounter them.
Yep, and if you tend to run higher than normal temperature, you're liable to get banned from a place.
Yeah, at least for those 2 weeks or whatever it might be. But this is going to be something that employees encounter, customers encounter, concert goers might encounter.
You thought random drug tests were bad.
Yeah. And like I said,
with the thermometer shortages that we're experiencing these days, sometimes the only thermometers left on the shelf are the rectal ones, so we're in trouble.
Oh no! No, thank you. Public transit. Well, first of all, restaurants. You and I were looking at images of restaurants.
Oh yeah, some of the ideas that they have come up with.
Oh my God. There's this restaurant in Paris that had like cones hanging from the ceiling.
Cones of silence, for those of you who remember Get Smart.
Yes.
Yeah. I would not eat at a place like that. If you and I went out to a restaurant, I would not eat there.
No, we would turn away.
We would find that place that's by the riverside that has the cute little greenhouses. Mm-hmm. That was nice. That was a really bright idea.
Yeah. And, you know, we'll link in the comments, because I have 2 articles I want to share with you all that kind of reiterate what we're saying, but you'll get a visual. And that's what makes this so much of a cultural shock, is like, this is happening not just in the theoretical, but in reality. And
some of the stuff, some of us are going to like.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely love the 6-foot distance thing, because I like strangers being close to me.
Right.
Makes me antsy. So yay, 6 foot social distancing, bring it on. I love that.
So he's excited about that. Whereas for me, I mean, I think of people I know and love who are immunocompromised, and even though we normally would hug each other in greeting, we're not going to be able to do that. We are going to have to maintain that 6 feet of distance for their well-being primarily. And in public, because I'm a smaller person, and because I'm still kind of growing in my sense of claiming my space and all that stuff, my personal bubble tends to be smaller. So 6 feet is a little bit weird to me. I'm going to have to work on claiming my space as well. And
it's funny when you and I walk down the street together and you have this huge bubble on one side and this tiny one one on the other.
Exactly. So those are things that we're going to notice more. And I also tend to speak softly. For the most part, I tend to be quiet. So I prefer having closer, more intimate conversations.
Yeah, you have a birthday coming up. I'm going to get you a bullhorn.
I appreciate that. Yes. So that's gonna be challenging for me personally, and it does make me sad, as I mentioned, because it does put distance between me and those I normally would share physical contact with, physical affection. And I know that the people I engage with in that way, with hugs goodbye and all that stuff, they're gonna miss that too. That's an adjustment to be made. Public transportation.
This is a thing. And
This
both
is,
of
yeah.
us, because we both use public transport a lot.
Yep. We cannot necessarily rely on public transit authorities to do our social distancing, physical distancing for us. So even though we may like to make sure that seats around us are unoccupied, I mean, we may have to take charge of that on our own. We may have to get up if someone sits too close to us and things like that, which is sad to me. I think it's going to send a lot of weird mixed messages. But when it comes to protecting ourselves from someone who may be sneezing or coughing, and maybe it's getting a little bit too aggressive, you know, like if it's someone who just sneezes once, it's no big deal. But that's going to get people's hackles up, I'm sure. And how do we handle that in a way that, like I said, is safe for us and humane for the other person? We're going to have to navigate that. Being in that enclosed space, like a train car or something, if we can keep that to 10 to 15 minutes or less, that would be better than hanging out on that train for a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever it might be.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because up here, a lot of train trips, like on the Caltrain, will take you half an hour to 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, it's going
If
to
I
be
want to
tough.
go into San Francisco, that's a 40-minute trip from here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is where masks come in as being so critical to protecting ourselves and protecting other people from what we may be carrying without realizing it. Yeah, and cleaning our hands as soon as we exit a bus or a train, whether that's with hand sanitizer or hopping into a station bathroom where, of course, you know, you're going to have a lot of high contact surfaces you'll have to think about.
Yeah.
Stressful.
It's going to be like, we're going to have to figure out how to accessorize the thing. Maybe beautiful necklaces with a bottle of hand sanitizer hidden inside.
Tiny little.
Yeah.
I saw this
hand
woman.
Sanitizer on a holster.
Yeah, people have like them on those little.
Yeah.
Clips that you put on a belt loop or whatever. This woman I saw in one of our restaurant images, which you'll see in a link below, she's got like a black sequin mask on, which I thought was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that if we are in the position of having to wear masks in public, that masks are going to get very elegant.
Or elegant,
cool,
eye-catching, interesting, cool. Yeah.
Because you're going to want one that has steel studs on it. Black leather, steel studs.
You know me. Yeah. You know me. So yeah, I'm looking for interesting ones myself because I want this to be a creative and positive experience as much as it can be, while also being protected. Bikes and bike shares may be more of a thing. And it may be
not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, and I think people get a little bit weirded out by using like shared bicycles and stuff, but you can bring, you know, if you wash your hands after, you touch the handlebars or whatever, or if you bring disinfecting wipes to use before you use the bicycle, either way, the germs aren't going to jump into your mouth. It's only if you touch your face or, you know, put your fingers in your mouth or in your touching your eyes and stuff. So there's a certain, you know, practicality that we can apply to using shared bicycles and things like that, while also avoiding using mass transit if that's what we need to do. And hopefully, you know, because mass transit is likely to have to undergo a adjustment period, this may be a way to fill the gap if they can manage to make bikes a more appealing mode of transportation.
Yep. And all you need for that is good, safe bike lanes.
That's what I was trying to get at, yeah. And
bike lanes and bike paths, more rails to trail, you know, all of that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
You know, theoretically, I can ride from here to San Francisco on the Bay Trail
yeah.
on my bicycle. The trouble is they don't have it all done yet. So they need to get their asses right now.
Yeah, right now.
Right now.
Grr. And plus we've made such headway on decreasing carbon emissions. It would be great if we can continue that by encouraging people to ride more bicycles.
And that gets you your exercise.
Yes.
Good. Boost the immune system. Get exercise and fresh air.
Right. Yeah. This actually makes me think of, I guess if you're going to the gym, you have to think about, okay, maybe we can handle high touch surfaces by either disinfecting or washing our hands, but there's all that exhalation going on. Yeah. And that's where things get tricky because it's hard to wear masks when you're really getting, you know, your heart rate.
If you're biking, you don't really need to wear a mask.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying, is if you're able to transition out of the gym and onto the street with the bicycle, then awesome. You're solving a lot of problems that way. Plane travel.
Yeah, plane travel, you're going to have to get on the airlines and basically force them, in some cases, to comply with the social distancing thing. Because I know there have been a lot of flights with some airlines that have been packed because they're desperate for the money.
Right, and they've been decreasing the frequency of flights because it's too expensive to have all those flights flying. So you park everyone in a sardine can.
Yep.
And while this is not necessarily, at least in the sense of breathing in germs, it's actually not as high risk as you would think because we do have very effective HEPA filtering systems on airplanes that do filter out viruses, and that's a great thing. But there's still plenty of high-touch surfaces. There's still plenty of people who may be sitting around you, unfortunately, and maybe even with the best intentions, coughing in your face. And that sucks. People are going to do their best, you know? But
so with planes, maybe you're going to need to get an N95 mask.
Perhaps so, yeah.
I have to do a flight, and I saved my last N95 mask for that flight.
Yeah, yep. If you take good care of it, it'll last you beyond that flight too. Yep. So it's a good thing to have if you have one. Disinfecting wipes, it's not very practical on public transit because you're not really sitting there for a long time or standing there for a long time. But on an airplane, it may be worth it. You can wipe down the window or your armrests or your tray and your TV screen, whatever you think you're going to be touching. We don't want to get neurotic about this stuff, but I think at this point, there's definitely a range in which we can be practical and proactive. And cruises, of course, I think it's pretty, people are going to take their chances, but we all know by now.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, there ain't no more cruises.
Yeah,
I
I
might
mean,
have been talked on to a cruise last year, possibly, but no. Who wants to be stuck on a floating petri dish for 2 months while they wait to see if the virus is going to kill anybody?
oh, I know. That's
Yeah,
been
plague
so
ships are
sad.
not my idea of a good time.
No. And I've been on 3 cruises before. I really enjoyed them. I did not get sick. I had a great time. But I understand that there's a lot of risk involved, and it's hard on the crew who are living in close quarters, and they don't get to cancel. That's them quitting their job. And it's a floating petri dish, unfortunately, with lots of high touch surfaces, lots of people in close quarters. And if you're pre-symptomatic or asymptomatic, or someone else is,
Yep,
there you go. It begins.
we have seen how that has worked.
Yes.
Plague ships off of
So
San
sad.
Francisco, yes.
Yeah. But, I mean, on the upside, people are already thinking about how museums are great places for people to go because it tends to be quiet, contemplative space, not very crowded. You don't touch things, you're just walking around. So I'm thinking ahead to things like that that are still going to be accessible in the weeks and months to come at some level of normalcy, as long as people are standing 6 feet apart and all that stuff. So it's not all doom and gloom and weirdness. And hopefully we can just keep a positive attitude about this, because it's not going to be forever.
Nope. Think of it as a, like I like to say, a steampunk role-playing game adventure. That's what we're stuck in for the next couple of years.
You know, that's making more and more sense to me. So I get it now. Yeah, that seems kind of cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, coming to you from Steampunk America.
Yep, here we are. And we will be doing 2 more talks, well, at least in terms of our huddle in place. And then we will be
Doing other things.
yeah. And it's been a great ride, and we're going to share more about that in the next 2 talks. So for the moment, take care, stay well, look out for each other, and we will talk more soon. Bye.
Bye.